So, today heralds the arrival of the details for the Rebirth expansion. We've got a trailer and then we've got an article with a bunch more information. I think we've got a pretty good idea, it seems, about what's going to be in this DLC after this, after these announcements. So, let's check them out and then see what's what. I'm very curious how they're going to get a campaign out of this movie. Like, I have very mixed feelings on Rebirth. This is not the place to really get into that. One consideration, one concern, let's say, I have with Rebirth is how in the hell do you translate it into this game? So hopefully we leave all these reveals feeling much more confident about, or at least I leave these reveals feeling much more confident about how this will be integrated into the game. Expected, Aqualops. So I'm going to just do the whole thing where I like pause when I have things to interject. First interjection on the Aqualops. I'm not gonna get into the whole, wow, another small ceratopsian. I guess I just did by saying that. Its presence is not really adding much to the game, but I'm a firm believer that animals that are present in the film should be in the game, and redundancies in the roster are less important than that. If you prefer Microceratus, then you get Microceratus. If you prefer Aqualops, you get Aqualops, and that's fine. What I don't like as much about this, the animatronic or puppet for the movie had quills on the tail, and the quills were removed in the film. Either CG'd out if the puppet was actually visible fully in the scene, or just not included because the CGI model didn't have them. I personally really like the idea of the male having the quills to bring that back. That way the male would reference the animatronic, and the female, well, presuming Dolores is female, would be the Dolores CGI model. I'm guessing that's not what's been done here, because it looks like we have different patterns going on here. This is, I'm guessing, a male. It's still possible that it will be that, though. I will say the quadrupedal movement actually sets this apart from the other small ceratopsians, right? This is actually a different animation set. So that's good, too.
Il Saint-Hubert, site of top-secret scientific operations. A place where
There's our whip-tailed Titanosaurus. Put the captions on here just because. I will say, you know, the distinctive feature of the Titanosaurus is the whip-tail, and if this is truly an in-game shot of it, they've done a really good job of capturing that, which was something I wasn't sure if they would be able to do, given that it's dramatically different than how any of the sauropods already have anime. So that's good. I mean, this is probably the most interesting creature in the movie as far as new species go. You know, it's got an interesting pattern, which definitely they can do a lot with in the game. And the whiptail does give it a very distinct profile. One thing here, like I just said, the pattern very distinctive. They could do a lot within the game. Are they gonna? Because if we remember back to the Dominion DLCs, we had, you know, four skins for the Atrociraptor, for example, right? The four individual ones in the movie, and then we had a unique Frontier skin, which was the default, which was dog shit. So anytime we get a film animal that has an interesting pattern, I always get concerned that the Frontier skin is just going to be splotches. That they're going to put very little effort into the skin because they have the movie variant to fall back on almost, right? In the Biosyn expansion, we had dog shit Iguanodon variant skin. Dog shit Atrociraptor. I'm sure there were some other ones that were pretty bad. Some of them were alright, but usually the ones that had alright skins were paired with ones that had very bland film variants like the Giga. So hopefully, what I really would like, and what I don't know why they don't do it, is I would love to see the film pattern, and then we just get to recolor the film pattern. I don't know why that's not the standard template for species variants. Or film variants, I mean.
historic marvels could thrive under our watchful eye. We were pioneers, where the cutting edge of creation and modern-day research could coexist.
One other comment, too, about Titanosaurus in particular. We have had a recurring issue in Jurassic World Evolution 3 with representing the on-screen dimorphism where it's present accurately, in that Frontier's not even tried. The male Rex is a carbon copy of the female. You could sit and debate how dimorphic they actually are in the film, because it depends on the animatronic or the CGI model. But at the very least, the CGI Buck Rex has more of a pronounced waddle on the neck that should be on the model. It's not there. The more egregious example is the male Nasutoceratops, where they didn't even bother giving us the actual male and female designs. And that was a very disappointing thing, because the one of the highlights of the Nasutoceratops, one of the things that sets that animal apart from everything else, is that we had very clearly dimorphic male and female, and we had a juvenile. We had the whole family unit on screen. And the fact that that wasn't captured accurately in the game that adds males and juveniles, I think is honestly a really big mark against the game, because I fall under the umbrella that this is a Jurassic World / Jurassic Park game. If it gets anything right, it should get the Jurassic World / Jurassic Park animals correct, and it really doesn't. The highlights of the design work in Jurassic World Evolution since the midpoint of Jurassic World Evolution 2 have been new species, and the game has done nothing since the midpoint of JWE2 to actually improve and add to the film canon species. We're sitting with film canon designs that haven't been accurate since the first game, that weren't accurate in the first game, and they've received no improvements. We've gotten better, like the Dominion expansion is probably the best example of accurately accurately capturing the appearance of the animals from the film. But prior to the Dominion expansion, we always had problems. The Dilo was inaccurate. We had inaccuracies in like the Berry and the Carno because they were based on pre-release designs of the Fallen Kingdom animals, and that stuff still persists to this day. I feel like, that Jurassic World Evolution is missing one of the key basic design points of what it should be, which is a Jurassic game. And I'm sure the Rebirth animals are going to be captured accurately, but what about the other 5 movies that are still, not accurately captured? What about all the variants, that on-screen animals, the different variations we've seen on screen that we still don't have in the game? It's a little disappointing, right? Because what ends up happening is it ends up making Prehistoric Kingdom look more appealing, because it's just the good part of JWE, but more, right? More broader paleo-accurate designs, not just the handful of DLC animals we've had in JWE. What I would love, my idealized version of reality, is we have Jurassic World Evolution as this fantastic game where you can live out your Jurassic Park fantasies, and Prehistoric Kingdom as this fantastic game where you can live out your paleo-accurate fantasies. And it's fine for there to be crossover between those. It's good that we have DLC animals in JWE3 that are paleo-accurate and interesting. I prefer that approach for most animals that are not represented in the film. The problem is just that the film animals are not represented well in the game. That's the problem, right? They handle one half of the pie well, but it's the half of the pie that should be secondary, in my mind.
Exist. At least, that was the vision.
Sorry for the rant.
Case. What actually happened there, when it didn't go to plan, was a different story entirely. Coexist. At least, that was the vision for...
So, we have a dam here. I assume this is decorative. It's hard to say. Well, the water... I don't know. How close can you get a decoration to water in this game accurately? I think if the hitbox is turned off, presumably you can create this already. I mean, the map looks good. The environment with like these tall, Thailand style, I don't know what you would call these. Rock spires? Plateaus, I guess? They look good.
What actually happened there, when it didn't go...
Confirmation that muted on flies. I said I wasn't going to get too much into my feelings on Rebirth. I will say one thing. This is my least favorite animal in the entire franchise, I think. I don't like the Distortus Rex either. That's like my second least favorite animal. But this guy is like violates basic physics. It doesn't look like a creature that could fly because it is not a creature that could fly, and yet it does. That shit aggravates me because it's fundamentally it's like the kind of thing that will fundamentally take me out of suspension of disbelief in a movie is when a movie that's supposed to take in the real place in the real world no longer feels like it could take place in the real world because it violates the fundamental tenets of reality in some way. And Rebirth did that to me with the Mutadons.
To plan was a different story entirely.
Okay. I found this surprising that the name is literally just Rebirth expansion. I guess it makes sense. The Dominion expansions did have expansion in the title, right? I just didn't think of them that way. Like officially. Call it like the Malta expansion, but for some reason it did feel like this was like a real title for a thing, but I guess it's fine. I don't know why that bothered me. Never mind. Delete that. Cut that content out of the video. Okay, well, that's the trailer. So, that doesn't give us much of insight into how the actual campaign is going to play. It really doesn't give us much insight into the content in the pack in general, but we'll see that shortly when we look at the website article. It's really just serves as a teaser of the environment and the animals. Also, we do have confirmation of some Aztec, Mayan, I don't know, some unspecified South/Central American ruin architecture. Yeah, quite a bit actually, because we do have this shot here too.
Is where the
Yeah, a whole pyramid type thing going on. Will be interesting to see if you can use this stuff to create like a ruin nest to capture that whole Quetzalcoatl sequence from Rebirth of having the cats inside of the ruin. A very interesting aesthetic. It will be fun if you can recreate that, but we'll see. All right, let me get set up here to look at the article. So the website article, we've got the Rebirth expansion dropping on the 16th of June for 25 USD. I don't remember how that compared to the Dominion expansions, but we've also had price increases on the smaller packs, right? So if this is $5 higher or whatever than the Dominion expansion, that doesn't really surprise me. Okay, so we got dinos, we got features, gallery, and scenery. So a pretty good overview on the DLC. New era is born in the action-packed Jurassic World Evo 3 Rebirth expansion. Delve into a game expansion narrative inspired by the dramatic events of Jurassic World Rebirth as you experience an original story set prior to the blockbuster movies. We're doing a prequel thing. Take control of 3 top secret locations to come face to face with 4 new dinosaurs, including the terrifying Distortus Rex. So, 4 new dinosaurs, not 5. And Neurognathus is confirmed cut. We've seen Aqualops, we've seen Titanosaurus, we saw the 2 freaks. So no a Neurognathus. So they're going to do a Microceratus. They're going to bait us on it. It's not going to come out for a goddamn year, and then it'll be shoved in a DLC randomly near the end of the game's lifetime, and we'll be like, finally, the collection is complete. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm being sarcastic, because the Microceratus situation in Jurassic World Evolution 2 was really annoying. 3 locations, so I assume this is going to be like the... like the base game campaign and like the Malta campaign from JWE3 where we had islands to switch between. Presumably this is 3 top secret locations on the same island, but maybe not. Depending on the nature of the story, I could see these being other locations that connect into Saint Hubert somehow, maybe. All right, a little shot here of the Titanosaurs. Can't tell if there's any dimorphism going on. The pattern looks different. Maybe. Hard to tell because we're seeing a different profile view, but it looks like the stripes here are kind of forking on the neck. Maybe it does that anyway. Hard to tell. Because the neck is stripy, but it just looks like a different kind of striping. Or it could be the male-female variant. All right, 4 animals. Oh gosh, why did you? Are you auto switching? Is that what we're doing here? Okay. Aqualops, small herbivore. You don't say. Stop moving, please. Stay, stay here. I'll just click it sporadically. Ground paleobotany, ceratopsia. Yep. Egg batch size 2 to 3. Eagle face. Yep, this all makes sense. Distortus. There's a look at the in-game Distortus. Yep, that's a Distortus Rex, all right. I hate it. Fair. Experimental engineering due to unexpected abnormalities deemed unfit for public display. Please stop moving. This is a dog shit way to do this website. Polymylia, 6 limbs, 2 hind limbs, 4 arms. Yep. Immensely powerful and unpredictable. Sure. Deemed unfit for public display. Length is 14.5 meters. Height, 8.1 meters. Weight, 10 tons. I have no idea how that compares to the various depictions in the film. One of the biggest problems I had with the Distortus Rex in the film, beyond the basic concept and execution and design, was that it seemingly changed sizes scene to scene, which was really aggravating. Another pet peeve of mine in movies. Another thing that breaks immersion. Batch size 1. Batch size 1 I'm muted on as well. Genetically engineered, part of experimental research, engineering new animals for exhibition. Physical and behavior qualities, both Velociraptor and Pteranodon. I never felt like this thing was part Pteranodon. This felt like part, like, something else. The shape of the head doesn't really evoke Pteranodon. I don't know what animal would call to me in terms of, like, what this is a hybrid of, but, like, Pterodactylus or something, Rhamphorhynchus, something else other than Pteranodon. Prove challenging to their intelligence and versatile movement capabilities. Yeah. And Titanosaurus. So that's a look at the dimorphism. Oh, I guess this confirms no dimorphism, of course, for these two. Expected. But having half of the animals in your DLC be single models like this is kind of underwhelming. But they are substantially different shaped animals, so it's understandable from a logistics standpoint why they would do that. Yeah, I suppose we should see here if there's any... So the frill is bigger on the male. Much more of a wider heart-shaped look to the frill on the Aqualops. Other than that, maybe a little bulkier, but it's too hard to tell in these shots. Nothing much going on there. Yeah. And then on the Titanosaurs, again, yeah, I can't tell. The big thing would be the fins. Okay, I think it looks like there's a bigger fin on presumably the male here, maybe. Really hard to tell from this profile shot, though. And it looks like it's bigger to me based on what we saw in the trailer earlier. When the last sauropods walked the Earth in the late Cretaceous, the humongous Titanosaurus was created in the modern day on a secretive island research facility. Besides its remarkable size, amongst the extinct animals, several unique characteristics. Long whip-like tail, 2 sets of short sails along the spine, height 20 meters, 60 tons, 40 meters length. So yeah, big. 1 egg, sure. I don't have much else to say about that, so yeah. Well, there's the island. This is pretty much, I think, a stylized render of a map of the island you can see vaguely in the film that's been revealed more from like merchandise and behind the scenes type stuff. It looks like there's an exclusion zone there. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. Perimeter detection marker line. Okay. Maybe the exclusion zone factors into the campaign. Maybe that's not actually on the map from the film. I have no idea. Top secret campaign inspired by Rebirth. Push the boundaries. This top secret facility in Ile Saint-Hubert before its downfall in 2010. So, this has been a point of contention I've seen in the franchise, is the timeline, because it's very ambiguous in the film. Probably changed during development, but they are going with a 2010 downfall here. So this is taking place in the early days of Jurassic World, then, more or less. Like the first half of Jurassic World's lifespan, let's say. Experience a flexible campaign structure as you prioritize assignments with a capital A, so that's something. Expand a island-wide geothermal power network and manage a shared cash balance across 3 locations. Okay, so the cash balance thing is different. So these are more interconnected locations. Oh, and I guess, yeah, these are the three maps. I mean, that's interesting. The thing about a shared cache balance is, well, the game has no difficulty, so who cares? But maybe they'll execute it well. Maybe it'll matter in some way and not feel like a gimmick. Hopefully, it will matter in some way. All right, main facility. Use new tech to manage formidable predators in the main facility. Heart of Eel Saint-Hubert's operations and home to decades of boundary pushing phylogenetic. Nope. Where did I get phylogenetic? I think I just saw the P in genetic and my brain went phylogenetic. Genetic research. So map looks interesting. It looks like we have the dam. And we have, like, you can see there's like structure here around the edge of the waterway. That might be a really cool map. So that's interesting. Ancient Valley. This is the presumably the Titanosaur Valley. Study enormous dinosaurs in the vast open ancient valley, featuring ancient ruins of prehistoric titans. Perfect space for studying natural dinosaur behavior. So this is going to be an open area type thing, like the various only build in this corner of the map, like those sort of safari or nature preserve style maps we've had in the campaign previously. Riverside Lab looks okay. So this looks like more of like a bridge. Don't get your hopes up. I'm sure this is not a functional placeable bridge over water. It's probably some sort of specialized part of the map or something that separates two sections of water. I highly doubt this will be placeable. It'd be sick if it was, because God, do we need bridges. But yeah. Synthesize semi-aquatic wonders at the Riverside Lab, the grounds of a laboratory specializing in dinosaur synthesis. In their most recent work, an immense, deadly semi-aquatic predator. So Spino, making the Spinosaurus a centerpiece of this, I guess. Okay. Science expanding features. Anything interesting in this screenshot? Different fence. Very weird. Oh, this is an aviary. This is like a little like energy field instead of a dome. That feels a little out there. Yeah, open air aviaries. Okay. Construct stunning natural aviaries with raised flying height, no visual obstruction, and expanded terrain editing heights for all your flying species. I mean, cool. Technically, this is a new feature. This is an improvement on the aviary system if the flying height is genuinely higher. But we had this as a mod in JWE2, and it looked exactly like this, where you had this awkward rim, and then you had the invisible dome. Like, I feel like the thing that's making me feel a little underwhelmed by this is the fact that it still keeps the bubble shapes of the aviary. It's still fundamentally the same aviary system. There's no flexibility in the shape. You have to connect these little circles together. So you end up with these awkward shapes where you have these bubbled out sections like this, and then these little straight sections in between. And, like, if you want me to be genuinely excited by an open air aviary, it needs to not look like this. But it's an improvement. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be a thing I look at and go, oh my God, it's everything I've ever wanted, because it's literally a mod we had previously. But it's good. Geothermal power. For the first time in the series, you can build and carefully manage a vast network of underground pipes to ensure a steady distribution of power across your facility. Okay. Interesting. The interesting thing is the pipe color here is like doing something. Is it like power density? Like the further you are from like a source, the less power there is? I don't know. Because like my first inclination on looking at this is like, oh, this is just taking the Hyperloop thing and making it a power station type system, right? Instead of the above ground wires or the repeaters, you have a below ground pipe system that connects to buildings that provide power. Like you'll have a generator, you'll have underground pipes, and then it'll connect to little, stations on the service that, put out the power circle that powers things. That's my inclination. But the color makes it feel like there might actually be something to this system beyond just a visual reskin. In which case, cool, I guess. Um, Certainly having a different sort of power system that isn't fully visible above ground would definitely be welcome. I personally have enjoyed the aesthetic of the wires, but it's not very accurate to the films. None of the parks we've seen have, power cables snaking everywhere overhead. Everything definitely seemed to be underground and hidden. So it would be great to have this. Um, Conceptually, geothermal power is very tied into the park. Like it's in the books, it's in the movies. So having geothermal power is great. Except we already technically have it because the park era power station is clearly a geothermal power station. But this is an actual geothermal mechanic, so that's cool. I mean, I'm interested in seeing that. Hopefully, there's something different to it that makes it feel somewhat interesting for management in some way. Hopefully, it adds some sort of meaningful benefit and restriction that changes the way you play. We'll see. New experimental traits. And we have the example here of venomous. Adds the venomous experimental trait to a species. Traits are gained through something applied via genetic modifications. You like research traits or get them and then add them to animals to do like weird experiments. I like this. This is cool. Um, Seeing more done with the gene mod system or overhauling it in some ways, definitely something I wanted to see. Honestly, this is probably the first thing that I'm actually kind of excited about. The person that actually feels like it's genuinely new content beyond just here's some more animals in a which there's limitations to how exciting that can be if you're not happy with base game. Take again Jurassic World Evolution 2. Launched in a miserable state. Every update, the most exciting thing was the free update that would make fundamental improvements to the base mechanics of the game. And it's really only in the second half of the game where I would actually get excited about the animals specifically because I was happy with where the base game was. And so, yeah, like that's where I am at now, where it's I can't be that excited for new animals because I feel like the base game needs mechanically new things. But this does seem very interesting. Very interested to see what they do with this. Hopefully this is has again a balance to it, a tangible benefit and reward with some sort of risk. And Venomous could do that. The only question with something like Venomous is like, what is the benefit? Is it just appeal? Like give the animal appeal, but it has venom now, and if it breaks out and attacks another animal, it might die. Is that it? Because that's the basic thing you would expect here. Hopefully there's a lot of these. Hopefully there's more to it. We'll see. New vehicle skins. I don't like that this is worth putting on the page. I mean, I expect new vehicle skins for a new like building set and stuff, but I'm just a little worried that this is like being listed as a selling point. It's fine. Jurassic World Rebirth dinosaur skins. Unlock more Jurassic World Rebirth movie inspired skins and adult model variants. Interesting to use with your existing species. Okay. So, yeah, this was another thing, right? Most of the interesting animal designs from Rebirth were redesigns of existing animals. I personally quite like the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus, which we have not seen and maybe doesn't exist. Can you imagine? And so definitely a big question I and other people had was, well, are these going to be singular skins for these film animals, or are they going to be full-on variants? And this is basically showing that it's going to be both. At least some of them will have proper model variants. The question will be if these are model variants in the sense that, like the Dominion Parasaur, right? Where it's clearly a different model for the animal, but it's still only a small set or even singular film skins that use that model, which would be disappointing. It's very possible that there's no true variants because they advertise, 4 species. But honestly, like a Spinosaur variant, you could advertise as a new animal to add to your game. And the fact that they aren't so far does make me a little concerned. Hopefully there's more in here about this. We got the gallery. So this is presumably the trailer, except marketing cookies. Fine. See, that was just the trailer. I accepted marketing cookies for nothing. All right, shot of the Distortus. Sure is a guy that exists. Aqualops. This is honestly probably my favorite animal in the pack, which is certainly something. Mutadon by an ice machine. True. Titanosaurs. I mean, I don't hate these guys either. I don't love them. They are definitely a vibe. Shot of the, yeah, so probably female. That's probably male. And then a juvenile, like the family unit with the temple in the background here. This was something I brought up, during the reveal cycle for JWE3. Why did we get Patagotitan and Psittacosaurus when Titanosaurus and Aqualops were clearly coming? Like, it from a marketing standpoint, from a game design standpoint, it adds redundancies to the roster, and it makes Rebirth less hype because you get the better versions of those animals at release. Like, why would I want, ignoring the fact that it's a franchise animal, which I brought up being, important and relevant, why would I, as a generic dinosaur person, want Aqualops if I've been given the awesome Psittacosaurus already, right? Whereas if you don't put Psittacosaurus and Patagotitan in release and base game release, and you put different animals in those spots, then these animals feel a little more hype because they have unique niches, which they currently don't. Interesting shot here of the dam. So this is the first map, the main facility. So this is definitely going to be some sort of part of the map here, this like dam. It's going to be like the Biosin Valley map in JWE2, where it's got some like infrastructure that's inherently part of the map. Likely. This is maybe a building area back here. We got the little like helipad thing. I assume again that's probably fixed or decorative. Again, there's a little like bridge thing here. I'm not going to hold my breath that these structures you see here in the water do anything. I could see, honestly, this back here being the buildable part, and all of this stuff here that's cool being just map border. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully there's more to this, and it's more interactable, but this being the map border would be consistent with the way they've done this kind of map before. And it's also something that allows them to kind of oversell it. Because in a screenshot like this, you don't know where the map border actually is. That allows you to have this impression of this very open, interactive vista when actually it's not. This is, the Titanosaur field. You can see another temple there. And then, the river. So this, probably a little bit of a better shot, but yeah, this is like a bridge. So here's my expectation for this. This might be a usable bridge in quotation marks. Currently in Jurassic World Evolution 3, there are no true, genuine bridges, but you can do a pretty convincing fake by having a path at like a level flat path and then using decorative elements to cover the sides of it where the terrain is so that it looks like an artificial structure. And this you could make this in base game currently. This is not a new feature. You have a path, and then you have basically this overlay, this set of like decorative cladding you add to the two sides that completely conceal the fact that the ground actually just continues here and that the river is not present. Although I will say there is a little bit of like white water going on here, which does a really good job of selling the illusion of this being genuinely a bridge/dam. So there might be something to that. There might be a decorative piece that gives the illusion of flowing water, which would be really cool. That would go a long way towards helping to conceal this sort of thing, making these like artificial dam pieces and having it feel like the water really does continue past both sides. So, I mean, hopefully there is something to this. Hopefully this actually is like making some sort of like meaningful change to allow us to at least approximate bridges. We'll see. There's also something interesting going on here in the back with the water. This is probably just two short waterfalls, but it does make the river have an interesting feel of there being some actual flow. This is something I would like to see implemented in the game in some way. We already have flowing water tech used with the waterfalls. I would love to be able to make a river that actually feels like it's flowing from point A to point B, for there to be movement in the water, because currently the water is very stagnant outside of a waterfall. And this is one way you can kind of fake that by putting in a few little like short waterfalls between different terrain levels to make it feel like the water is going somewhere. So this will be an interesting map to see. I think this is the least interesting of the three. Okay, you can not do that, thank you. There's our little gas station. We got a little scenery page here. Expand your facility with hundreds of authentic scenery pieces. That's kind of expected, right? We've seen a lot of stuff going on with like the gas stations and stuff. It does make sense there would be like hundreds of assets here that are, parceled out to be used. 35 blueprints, geothermal piping, structural gantries, iconic buildings inspired by the movie. Cover the mysteries of Mayan architecture. Okay, it's Mayan, confirmed. Temples and decorations, keeping locations feeling natural and untouched by the progress of science. Okay. And we get a look, actually. So we got, let's start at the beginning. No, I can't scroll these. I just got to sit here and wait. This looks like Luke's farm on Tatooine. I guess these are probably default buildings, right? There's like an entryway. Those are just a peek at like the Rebirth items. And yeah, some of these ruins. Okay. Sure. I mean, it's definitely welcome to have these ruins. Probably the most interesting part of the film was the whole Mayan ruin thing. It added a very distinctive vibe. It was an environment we hadn't really seen the dinosaurs in before. And it's useful for like Jurassic Park trespasser builds. So yeah, that's got like a path connected to it. That's probably another like a shelter or something. Some of these are definitely functional buildings. It's so hard to tell what they are without labels. That's remote viewing gallery, obviously. The tower. Yeah, these are very samey. That's a viewing tower. That's Lagoon Hatchery. Lagoon Viewing Gallery. That is a helicopter, so that's probably the maybe the Expedition Center. I mean, it makes sense that these buildings would be very samey for like the whole research facility feel. And I appreciate that they have like a full set, regular hatchery, medical. That's the ranger station. You can see the jeeps there. It'll definitely be fun for building research facilities, but they won't lend themselves very well to other builds. That's fine. Not everything has to, right? That's probably the power station. All the pipes. Okay, then we got this. So these are all the pieces. So we've got some new plants, some different like dead vines, some different hanging like ivy type stuff. That's welcome. I think these are little like plant pieces again to put along like the edge of something or like in a crack. Some different roots maybe here. Bunch of individual temple wall pieces. Uh-huh. Okay, some more little sections of grass. I wonder, there is like the notable long grass in the Titanosaur scene. Yeah, like what is it, like elephant grass or something? I wonder if that's going to be in the game, because if you have just the standard grassland, it's going to be kind of samey. Having like the taller grass that like fully would conceal a person would be nice to see. Maybe that's what this is supposed to be. It's really hard to tell scale here. Then you got these facility type pieces. Okay, a lot more like plant stuff going on than I would have expected. Some trim pieces with like white hazard striping. Railings. Oh yeah, like these like grass roof pieces basically. Like AstroTurf or something, or just maintained grass. Gas pump. Wow. Yeah, these are now getting into like gas station stuff here, like the ice machine, then geothermal pipes. So you'll be able to like put up decorative like sections of pipes across your park if that's the vibe you want to go for. Statues for the 4 new animals. Okay. Do we think this will have new challenge modes? Because, man, do I need challenge modes that offer me anything. Qualtech sign. Yeah, okay. And that's everything there is here. I wonder if there's any other information to glean from other sources. There is. The Steam page is informative. So let's go through this. New era is born. Dive into a game expanding narrative. Take control of 3 locations. We know all this. Distortus Rex. First of its kind with unique kill animations, immense aggression. Mutadon, combining the cunning hunting abilities of the Velociraptor with Pterosaur's dominance of air. Yeah, we still don't know. Like, presumably this is an aviary animal, given that we saw it fly. We still don't know if it's going to be... Like, functionally, we don't know if this is just going to be a pterosaur, right? The Mutadon. Because it could be. It could be a thing that spends all day flapping around and barely spends time on the ground, and that's going to feel really wrong. The Mutadon feels like it should be fundamentally the opposite, because in the film, we barely see it fly, right? So we should see this thing mostly on the ground, which would require an entirely different, like, AI system for it, right? Something where it can navigate the environment dynamically like a land animal, and then switch to the kind of scripted flying stuff that we have for pterosaurs. Titanosaurus, uncover the iconic species. You're using that word very loosely, iconic. Alongside the never-before-seen juvenile variant. I mean, again, that's not really a selling point. Most of the juveniles have never been seen. Aqualops, small in size, but huge in appeal. Do we think this is actually gameplay? That it actually has a high appeal value? That would be really interesting if it did. It'd be weird to balance with a small animal. A unique striped tail. Really? That's a selling point? That's not true. Plenty of things have stripy tails. All right, this is where we get into the meat and potatoes. Rebirth skins. Lock more Jurassic World Rebirth-inspired skins and adult model variants to use with your species and vehicles. Oh, I was going to say this before and I lost track of it. Adult model variants. That means they use the same juvenile. Okay, so T-Rex. 1 new model, 1 Rebirth movie skin, 12 skin colors, 6 patterns. 1 new model? Is this... So this is a non-dimorphic variant? Right? That's how I interpret this. So currently, every variant we have in game is non-dimorphic. Only the base skin is dimorphic, and then if you can use the variant for both male and female, they look identical completely. So that's what I interpret here, that these are going to be variants, these first 4, and they just will look the same for male and female. That's a little... strange, maybe. It's kind of expected, though. That's the precedent established by the game already. So, fine. New Spino variant. This was the one that kind of everybody expected had to be a thing, right? The Spino is probably a bigger selling point for the film than the new animals themselves are. 3 skins. There were 4 in the movie, right? I'm not wrong on that, aren't I? There's like 4 distinct Spinos and we only get 3? That's very strange. If that's the case, this is reminding me a lot of the Camp Cretaceous Rexes, where we had the Camp Cretaceous DLC come out with 1 Rex variant and 1 was missing, and then we got it like what, like a year and a half later finally, and like was it in like the last DLC that had the random Rex skin thrown in for the other missing one? Very weird. I don't know why they do this stuff. I mean, I know why they do this stuff. Cut corners where you can. But, like, that shit's gonna bother people, not having all 4. Mosa, new model, 1 skin. Yeah, then 12-bit skin, colors and 6 patterns is standard. Then the cats. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's expected. We get a Dilo skin, but it doesn't say that it's a new model, so this will presumably be the somewhat inaccurate model we already have, just with this skin. And then 2 Velociraptor skins, which is interesting because technically these were like not visible in the movie, but they got in, which is genuinely shocking to me. We'll have to see if they get the genders right, if they have 1 male, 1 female, and it'll be curious to see with the Dilo what they do with this, because we have no idea the gender of that Dilo. So are they going to make it like they've been erring on the side of making things female, which has been kind of annoying. And I mean, some of the female animals in the game, like the film skins that are assigned female in the game, some of those are just wrong. Like the Brachiosaurus, the JP3 Brachii, which is a male, is a female skin. So there's that angle too of them being wrong on that. So they could mess this up. Like ultimately, I think this should be available to both genders because we don't know what gender it was in the film, what sex, male or female. But we'll see what they do. Top secret campaign. Yep. Expanding geothermal power network, shared cash balance, flexible campaign. Oh yeah, we never found out what assignments were. Wait. Experience a flexible campaign structure with assignments. Focus on priority assignments to advance a story. Take on a wider range of optional assignments that unlock new genomes, experimental traits, and research opportunities. These are just missions. How are these different than missions? Is it maybe that you have multiple slots you can fill? It's just missions where you can have more than like, a story one and a flex one at the same time. You can have like 3 or 4 or 5 maybe. Why is this being rebranded as assignments? This is weird to me. Yep, and then we got the Ile Saint-Hubert architecture, Mayan architecture, geothermal power, open air aviaries, new experimental traits. It's been years experimenting with the natural order of things, balance security with research, and synthesize species with new experimental traits that can bring drastic behavioral and social changes to your prehistoric animals. Hopefully that lives up to the hype there of actually having behavioral and social consequences. I think the experimental trait system has the most potential of anything in this DLC so far. If this lives up to what it says on the tin and actually changes the way the animals behave and feel, that actually would be awesome. I'm skeptical. The other thing that I'm concerned about here is how many of these things, like experimental traits especially, are going to integrate into Sandbox. Because the one weird thing we had with the Dominion expansions in JWE2 is unique mechanics that were added to the expansion that never made it into Sandbox that really should have. All the Wrangler stuff, the Amber Mine stuff, that should have been able to be used in Sandbox. And it was just never utilized again. It was abandoned. Not even used in a challenge mode. Very disappointing. I really hope they don't fall into that trap again and do like these like interesting, unique mechanics that actually do feel different and do feel like they add to the gameplay. I think in terms of some of the stuff in the Dominion expansion, pretty substantially. And then they just never reuse it again. And it's just such a missed opportunity. So I really hope they're better about that this time. All right, let's see if there's anywhere else to glean any more info. I probably didn't drill this home enough. This Spinosaurus is going to use the existing juvenile. You're going to have your standard JP3 Spino juvenile grow up into the Rebirth variant. And on top of that, if they don't fix currently how the variants work, your juveniles that you breed from your Rebirth Spinos will grow up into random Spinos that may or may not be Rebirth ones, which is annoying and awkward and bad. I think the Spino especially is going to be one that makes that a real annoyance for people. I think if people aren't already talking about this, I think post-release there's going to be some pretty hefty complaining about the Spino juvenile here. Yeah. And also no compy variant. We don't get a skin for the red and blue compy, which you could probably basically make that in-game. I get it not being here. The Neurognathus is a bigger miss. Also, the Salamander's not here, but that thing doesn't even have a name, so, like, kind of didn't expect it to show up, honestly. Skimming Reddit for additional information. Apparently, the YouTubers have their own content. I'm not going to get into watching those videos. It's too much to go through. I'll just highlight things as I find them here, digging through Reddit comments. The one here is apparently the Raptor variants lack quills, which is weird, being that quills are part of the point. Oh, okay. This comment here says the best in slot video, the red one has quills. and the blue one doesn't, which means the red one's the female, isn't it? So they put quills on the female and not the male? That's very weird. That feels almost wrong. Strange. Good catch here by another commenter. The Mutodon is listed as carnivore live prey, not piscivore. Are we getting expanded diets in aviary animals? Because that is so needed. Well, Evo thinks there's quills on both raptors, so maybe this is not even a concern. We'll find out at release. I don't know the source of this facility map. That's interesting. I mean, this is showing basically the 3 locations, like where they're located on the island itself, I guess. The little blurbs about the details. So facility expansion. I mean, this is the core facility, right? And then this is the river down here on the shoreline, I guess. And then we have the field here, definitely, because the historic architecture, I guess. So there's that too. All right, well, we're gonna end the video here. I'm not gonna go through all the YouTuber footage. There's other gameplay footage out there in those videos. You can go find them yourself, I guess. Hopefully, there's nothing substantial, but nobody was talking about anything on Reddit that wasn't already revealed to us through the official channels. Yeah, I like. I don't know what else to say. I'm not that hyped for this. I don't know. It's a combination of my general mixed feelings on Rebirth and my mixed feelings on what JWE3 actually needs for success, and it just is hard to be hyped for this, I guess. Hopefully it's good. I mean, I want the game to succeed. I want this to be good. The game needs to earn back my excitement a little bit right now. That's kind of just where it's at. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. Yeah, we'll be playing this as soon as it drops. I'm still gonna buy it, so like my concern is ultimately meaningless. I'm gonna support the game anyway. Take from that what you will. We'll be playing this on release day on the channel here. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it improves the challenge mode / sandbox experience in some meaningful way. And it's not just a forgettable piece of content after it's done. We'll see. We'll see soon. Comes out, what, next week already?